Good day, tent nerds. Another edition of Tent Talk Monday. Today we're going to talk about something I hope you never have to do, but I know you will have to do. As careful as we are with our fabric, eventually you're going to end up with a tear. Whether your guys do it, whether you do it, or whether your customer does it, you're going to end up with a tear in your tent. So how do you fix this? Well, I'm going to show you right now. You need a couple of things: good sharp scissors, a pencil, and some of this glue. This is a vinyl glue, best vinyl glue there is for working on tents. It is a contact cement, and I'll explain that in just a moment. And then you'll need a piece of fabric that you can cut a patch out of. So first thing we need to do is cut out the patch. So basically what you want to do is cut out a patch that is a 1/2 inch wider in all dimensions of your cut. So we cut this out, it's a 1/2 inch longer here, a 1/2 inch longer here, and then a 1/2 inch on either side. So this is what we're going to do. Now the next thing we need to do is prepare the patch. Very important that you do not use a square edge patch. You want to take and make the corners rounded, and through the magic of videography, here it is. So it's already rounded. All the corners get rounded off so you have no square edges. If you use a square edge patch, the problem is eventually the corners will start to lift and then they can slowly work their way off and peel off. So a round edge patch is basically what you want to do. Now, one thing about this glue is it will yellow. In other words, if you spill it or you get it outside of your patch area, it will turn to yellow, and it's a pretty unsightly stain that you cannot remove. Second thing, notice I have a piece of cardboard here. Anytime you're working with this glue and you're working on your tent, have a work surface so that when this tips over, it doesn't dump all over your tent, okay? It ends up getting contained by this cardboard. Next thing we need to do is we need to outline the area where we're going to patch this. And all we do is put the patch on here, and we're just going to draw some lines, and we'll create an outline of the patch onto the cut. And please don't use magic marker, don't use a pen, use a pencil. The pencil lead will wash away eventually. Anything else that's permanent, it's permanent. Alright, so once we have this laid out, I don't know if you can see it here. These lines aren't so good. And what we're trying to do is, this is the outline of the patch. We want to put the glue on here so that it stays within these lines so we don't end up with that yellow stain. The second thing I like to do is I like to do these patches in halves, just so that I can keep it nice and clean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a halfway mark on my patch and on the tent itself. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this glue and we're going to put a little bit of it on the tent. Now again, this is contact cement, meaning that it has to tack up or dry just a little bit for it to work. If we were to just put this on like a white wood glue that you use in woodworking and so on, where you put the two pieces together, it's not going to work. This is not how this glue works. This is contact cement. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit on here, and we're trying to keep it within the lines so that we don't end up with yellow staining. And you notice I'm only doing half of this, and I'll show you why in just a second. And the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the patch, and I'm going to do the same half of the patch. So here's my lines. So I'm going to just glue this out, basically that same half. Now, the contact cement part of this is where you need to take a little bit of break and have some patience. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to let this glue tack up, if you will. Sometimes if you have enough lighting, you can see the color change. This is very glossy right now, and when it tacks up, it'll go to more of a matte or a dull. You can reach in here with your finger and touch it, and if it's sticky, it's ready. This is not sticking to my finger. It's still very wet, so we're going to wait just a second here. Okay, so this is starting to tack up here. It's changed color. It's a little bit more of a matte color than it is glossy. And so what we're going to do is line up our two lines like that. And once you're down, you're down. You can't move this. All right, and then we're just going to walk it out and pressure it all the way down. All right, like that. Then we can do the other side the exact same way by peeling the patch back. Please keep in mind also that you want to do this in a very, very well ventilated area. The chemicals that are in this glue are rather caustic, I guess you could say. Recommended to be done in a very well ventilated open area like we're in right now. And again, you see I'm not pushing this down right away. I'm waiting for it to mat out and wait for it to tack up. Alright, so it's just starting to change color. It's getting some more of a dull. And you see it's kind of sticking to my finger. And now we can just roll this right down. And again, working from my center line, working out, and just pushing it into place. Now, the question that gets posed to us a lot of times is, where do we patch the tent? Do we patch it on the outside? Do we patch it on the inside? My answer to that is kind of both. It only needs to be done on the outside. I like them on the outside because then it keeps any chance of the rain, any weather getting into the tent. It does, although, leave where it's been patched. Some people like to then put a second patch on the inside to cover that up. So my answer to you is it only actually needs to be done on the outside. But if you really want it to look nice so that you can't see it, I would do it also on the inside. Okay? So hopefully you never have to do this. I'm afraid to tell you, everybody at some point in time has to patch a tent. This is the proper way of doing it.